Soon.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise in support of H.R. 299, the Blue Water Navy Vietnam Veterans Act of 2019, which would extend the presumption of exposure to herbicides to veterans who served in the offshore waters of Vietnam. I want to thank Chairman Takano for reintroducing this legislation and for working with me to get this bill to the House floor. It's no surprise that the fight for our Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans to receive their benefits they deserve is near and dear to me. Last Congress, I was heartened by the overwhelming support for these veterans when the House passed H.R. 299 by a vote of 382 to 0. To say the least, I was very disappointed that last year's bill stalled in the Senate and never made it to the President's desk. However, with 333 co-sponsors, it's my hope this legislation passes the House with the same bipartisan support as last year's package, and the Senate takes it up quickly. I know that's an oxymoron in the Senate, but quickly. As many of you know, Agent Orange was used in Vietnam to defoliate areas in the jungle where enemy forces would ambush our troops. When Vietnam veterans began developing diseases as a result of their contact with Agent Orange, Congress legislated the Agent Orange presumption to streamline benefits for affected veterans. Unfortunately, the Department of Veterans Affairs' long-standing practice was to limit the presumption to veterans who set foot, boots on the ground, in Vietnam or served in the inland waterways or brown water. The Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans were excluded from the presumption because VA claims there was not enough information to determine whether they came into contact with herbicides. As a result, Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans must provide evidence that they were actually harmed by herbicides. I understand how incredibly difficult this must be for veterans to try to find any records for potential exposure. I served in the United States 2nd Infantry Division in Korea near the DMZ, and I have no way to prove where I walked there 40-something years ago. There's just no way to prove that. But right now, these veterans are suffering from conditions that are known to be associated with exposure to Agent Orange. And I believe Congress must act to resolve this issue definitively. The recent court decision in Procopio was a huge victory for our Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans. However, it's unclear how VA plans to implement the court's holdings. Congress should not wait for this issue to work itself out by VA or the courts. These veterans have waited long enough to receive acknowledgement from VA that their illnesses may have been caused by their military service. 523 Vietnam veterans are dying each day, 523. So if the VA and this government waits long enough, we'll all die. We need to get this done. We must pass H.R. 299 as amended so that our Blue Water Vietnam Navy veterans can qualify for the same benefits as their boots on the ground and brown water Navy comrades. Moreover, H.R. 299 not only addresses the concerns of Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans, but also includes provisions that would, one, extend the presumption to veterans who served in or near the Korean DMZ beginning on September 1, 1967, provide benefits to certain children of Thailand veterans who were exposed to Agent Orange, and require VA to identify the U.S. military bases located in Thailand where Agent Orange was used, when it was used. And, Mr. Speaker, one of my best friends I'll ever have in my life died of a very rare lymphoma who served in one of those air bases that was, the perimeter was sprayed with Agent Orange. And he died about 4 years ago. Provide an update on current research on the potential of in-service toxic exposures of the Gulf War veterans. Finally, this bill would make several improvements to VA home loan program, including changing VA's home appraisal system so that veterans can close on their homes quicker and more seamlessly. Eliminating the conforming home loan limit to allow veterans to use their earned VA loan benefits in more expensive areas, and extending the waiver of home loan funding fees to recipients of the Purple Heart who are still serving on active duty, and temporarily increasing VA's home loan funding fees for non-disabled veterans, which would offset the cost of the bill. I would not be remiss if I did not thank the veteran service organizations for their unwavering support on this issue. I'm particularly grateful to the Veterans of Foreign War, the Disabled American Veterans, the American Legion, the Vietnam Veterans of America, the Paralyzed Veterans of America, the Military Orders of Association of America, AMVETS, and the Military Order of the Purple Heart for their hard work on this legislation. Mr. Speaker, I just read a study that was published yesterday that the United States is going into Vietnam and providing some benefits for some of the people there whose offspring were damaged. We're also doing mega site cleanups. We're spending millions, tens of millions of dollars to clean up Da Nang and Bien Hoa, the two major air bases where these Agent Orange was used. It's time we did the same thing for America's veterans here in the United States. That's the right thing to do there. It's the right thing to do here. I think I can speak for all of us today when I say that H.R. 299, as amended, does the right thing for our veterans. And once again, I encourage all members to support H.R. 299 as amended. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.